Hello, I'm Claire of Grief Conversations with Claire. I am a bereaved sibling, granddaughter, and doggy mum to Maggie. So I am continuing the series on types of grief. Today we're going to be talking about pet loss. As I've talked through the whole of this series, this is not about comparing. This is about giving you language and understanding of what's going on. Our own worst loss is our own worst loss. So one of the things that I want to do with talking about pet loss is normally being coupled in with disenfranchised grief. And I did an episode on that, and I'll pop a link to that below, talking about what disenfranchised grief is. What I want to start doing is work on kind of breaking everything out from that category to each own individual loss. Pet loss is one that I can do because I'm very, very close to it, but I want to work through all of the types of disenfranchised grief. So as you have felt disenfranchised at any place, drop me a comment below, talk to me about it, and I would like to look to address it with you. So we're in the kitchen again, aprons on, and I got out my Maggie cutter. So if I bring it up kind of close to you guys, you can see that that is a corgi. This got gifted to me. My Maggie was, or is a corgi, was as in the past tense, and I've got a couple of pictures. In her latter days, I got her a backpack because she still loved to want to be outside and exploring things, but didn't have the energy to be able to keep going. So I got one of these amazing backpacks, had a name on the back of it with a patch, and she loved being up there. And both of us kind of enjoyed if we walked past like an office window or something and there's this dog's head kind of level with my head, it was a little bit of fun. And she could hop in and hop out of there kind of as she wanted and was super comfortable. They're very, very well designed, come in all sorts of sizes. Apparently you can put something up to a golden retriever in them, which to me that's a little big. Maggie was about 28 pounds, and that was good enough for me to have her on my back. So a couple of other pictures to share with you. So that's Maggie just hanging out on the floor, and then I've got this one with me with her. I could do the carry as well if it was a day I didn't have the backpack, or it was slightly different, or she just plain old didn't want to go up a hill, because she would let me know on that. And then I've got a couple of pictures here that mean something to me. This one was taken by the picture was taken by my sister Lisa, who's passed away. And so I'll get closer, and that's Maggie and I together, and we're coming back down from going up mountains. This is pre-backpack days, and I cherish pictures that Lisa took as much as I cherish pictures that she's in, of which case I'll do this one. So this is Lisa on the bed here, and this is where her and I really resemble each other. And then you've got her with Maggie here, and she's trying the backpack out. That only stayed in there. She was in treatment, which is where the hair was quite short for her, because she had gone through one of her stem cell treatments. And then there's a picture of Maggie in the car. And then the last one is the one that I showed you that Lisa took of us. This is, if I hold it from the other side so I'm not over my face, this is the three of us at the top of said mountain. And here in New Hampshire, you put clothes on as you go up the mountain. It doesn't matter what time of year it is because it gets colder. But that's Maggie, and she means so much to me, and you'll hear me talk about her in past and present tense. She did pass away, and that was 5 years ago this past spring, and it still affects me now. And I've done a video when I went and did a walk around her anniversaries, because there's quite a few of her anniversaries that are all together, and I did that. But they are so important to us. So a couple of other things I wanted to share with you is this book I've just finished, awesome author, nearly got my tongue tied there. So this is backwards, book's named Suspect, and this is a one-off in his series. He normally writes with characters of Joe Pike and Elvis Cole, and they're amazing books, easy reads. This one is about a canine police officer and his dog Maggie, lo and behold. Didn't know that when I grabbed the book, because I just grab all of his books and love them. And in the book he talks from Maggie the dog's perspective, which is absolutely amazing. It's a great book, very kind of police detective thing, but I absolutely love it. And then when I was getting ready for today, I found this book which has got my name written inside of it with my mum's handwriting, and it's from 1986, so I would have been a wee little thing back then, and it's called Pets for Keeps, and I think it's like a double meaning in terms of how to take care of your pets and care for them, which is what the book talks all about, but it's also that pets are for keeps as well, and that we're charged with their well-being. So that's a couple of things there that I wanted to talk about. I think some of the things, and you see me, I refer over to my notes. I do that because there's things that are very important I want to make sure I cover, and that I don't get all excited in mid of bake and forget. And speaking of the bake, I've grabbed another Waitrose recipe. This is for orange and cardamom shortbread biscuits. I'm using a shortbread one to get the cookie and hope that they hold the form as well as possible, and you will see a picture for the thumbnail for this when it goes up as to whether that succeeded or not. I'm not putting the cardamom in. I'm going to put the orange zest in, and then what I'm going to do is dip some amount of the shortbread into dark chocolate, and then I've got some lovely sweetened dried orange slices, because it's a little hard to get candied mixed pill in the US, as opposed to in England it's in every single supermarket. One of the many things that I find so curious that is different over to here to England, and so I'm going to chop some of that up and put it on there. So I really just want the chocolate orange flavours, and I'll put the link for the recipe below. So I wanted to talk about when it comes to pets. So I talk a lot about dogs because Maggie, and that is the animal that I most identify with, but I love all types of animals. The piece that distinguishes things for you, if the love was real or is real, depending on what tense you want to talk about, then the grief is real as well. And that's the component. And that's with all types of disenfranchised grief. It is, love is real, the grief is real. And that's where the sentence ends, is at that stage. When I look at the world of pets and I look at it from a decade or two back, it looked so different. So I'm going to use a reference from in England, whereas you go that far back and you really would have only seen a dog in a local pub, quintessentially by the fireplace, drying themselves off from it having been rained. Like that is a real thing. It's not just out of movies and different things, for if you've never been to England, it actually happens. And then we've got our beer gardens as well in England, which is super nice, and animals can be out there as well. And then you go to nowadays, they can be accessible to more restaurants, coffee shops. And then I took Maggie with me to a wonderful retail place just down in Massachusetts, and the dogs could come in with you. So she would go in the fitting room with me and I'd try clothes on, and she'd be like, yep, what's going on? This is all cool. And she was very well behaved, like very well behaved, and very housebroken. So we weren't having any accidents, and I always did the thing as her guardian to make sure she had all the opportunities to be able to go, so then we never got into a predicament anyhow. But she was very good. I always spoke that with Maggie, she came 90% trained and all done, right from a puppy, and about 10% of it was me. She was just amazing. So the thing I'm going to talk about, what confuses me with pet loss, is we refer to them in life as man's best friend, as a dog, but we seem to forget all about that when they pass away. And it's like, hold on, they were man's best friend for as long as you had them for, but now they're gone and nothing. There shouldn't be any grief or anything going on. And that one confuses me. And there's many ways we can refer to our dogs and to our animals, which is man's best friend. There's heart dog, heart animal, soul dog, soul animal, and how bonded you are to them. And I'll talk a little bit about how Maggie and I were so in tune with each other as well as we go in. This also counts for people that support us as guardians of our pets, and it can be also the I've lost my place now. Hold on. So it can be the people that help support us. So with the world we're in now, there's boarding places. They go to daycare, dog walkers, pet sitters, shelters, vets, the whole encompassing thing. Those folks, when animals pass away, whether it's one that they've been caring for a very, very long time, or were part of rescuing them, or were part of them going over the rainbow bridge, they will feel grief for the animal as well, because they're super duper impactful. Now, we can be affected by dogs in our life and other animals as service animals, emotional support dogs, guide dogs, and medical alert dogs as well. I mean, it's amazing, I think, what they're able to do, and interactions that you have with them. I had a lovely interaction. I was waiting for my bags at the airport, and I had my backpack on the ground, and I was just waiting for the bags to come around, and lovely little beagle came around with I'm going to lose the word on what I'm after now, its handler with them, and just went and had a little sniff in my backpack and what have you, and off they wandered. And then they came back around, and it turned out it was for customs and people bringing in things that they shouldn't bring in. And so I mentioned something to the guy, because the dog came back around, and I'm like, any chance it's bananas? Anyone that knows me knows I absolutely love a banana, and that backpack was my work backpack, and I always slung in a couple of bananas to go to work with me each day, and the dog could smell it. There was none actively in there. They're absolutely amazing, and that was a fun interaction for me. Other people will have them like that handler would be, that's their partner at work. It can be for rescue efforts as well. And I'm going to pop a link below for a lovely story that was put up on Facebook about all the dogs at Ground Zero for 9/11. And they speak of them and the tireless work they did, their handlers. Absolutely amazing. So there's so many different parts to this that really, really makes a difference to us. So if I talk about Maggie for a little bit, and pets in general, they can be a reason for us to go home, that they've been there waiting for us to come back home from work, we've been out running errands or something, and they are that reason for us to go home. I mean, you talk about the quintessential thing of they're always happy to see you, and they always are, and it's just absolutely amazing. I often think, like, if us humans greeted our humans like dogs did, it'd be like, hey, you're home, so glad to see you, as opposed to being bothered sometimes by them when they come home. I think the world would be a lot nicer place. So there's that as well, and it can also be a reason for us to take care of ourselves, is because we know that that animal is dependent on us. And so that's something for there. For me, I loved coming home to Maggie, and if I'd been out and it was, kind of close-ish to what would be considered bedtime, I would come home, make sure I spent time with her, made sure she got a drink of water, and I would hang out with her and rebond with her, then take her out for her last pee and go to bed. And that was my routine. When she had passed away, and for that first couple of months really of where I would have gone out and come home and she wasn't there, I was like, oh, I just may as well go to bed. And I would go to bed any time that I'd just come home, because there was just no reason for me to be up without her, because it was just such a lovely, lovely interaction I had with her. And we would do that. And then if I go even further back, when I originally came to the US, I came out on my own. I didn't know anyone, like literally didn't know anyone. And I went to the job that I had come over for, and I was like, I need something to take care of and something to come home to. I had a lovely landlord, but it was a no furry animal environment or anything else. So I got a goldfish. And that was good enough for me for coming home, feed them each night, and then to have something to take care of cleaning the bowl out and all of that. And it's those types of things that are absolutely lovely for us. So I talked a little bit about it, and I term it as unwanted freedom. Like, I now had the ability to stay out longer than what I used to after Maggie passed away. And I never saw her as a tie or anything along those lines. I was always so delighted to go home to her, so conscious of not wanting to be away from her for very long, for whether it was bathroom things or interaction. And you hear people talk about, like, we are their whole world, and that really mattered to me. And will, when I get my next dog, which will not be for a little while yet, because there's a number of things that I want to have line up to make sure I'm in a place to give that dog a really, really good home. Let me see what else there is. That's the unwanted freedom piece, and we feel that through all sorts of aspects of grief as well, whether it's empty nesters, your spouse has passed away, you have other things going on, which I'm going to get to one of those slightly further down. Then you've also got lost my train of thought again, sorry. Okay, this was the other piece I wanted to talk about. Maggie was a wonderful compass gauge for me. And I mean that in the sense of, if I was leaving her to go and see someone, and I had that real extra pull to not want to leave her, I knew where I was going was not of high enough value to warrant leaving her. And this is beyond the puppy eyes that they give you, where they're like, you're leaving, and they do that every single time. And it was just a wonderful compass gauge for me, and that was gone. And I've been able to put that back in place for myself again, but it's not something that I see as a negative or a codependency thing or anything along those lines. It's just something that was a lovely gauge for me to have in there. So a couple of things I'll talk about. So I talked about the link that I'm going to put in the comments for the 9/11 post about the search and rescue dogs there. I'm also going to pop links for other social media accounts that I follow. And this is the thing with, like, again, decade and a half ago, when mobile phones and the internet and social media and things like that either didn't exist or were just coming around. This wasn't a thing, but there's dogs out there with their own Instagram pages and things. And there's a number that I follow. There is one who I follow with Vlog After College is the YouTube channel, and that's Ryan and his dog Gatsby. And Gatsby had cancer a couple of years ago, and we followed along with all of his treatment. Ryan kept us up to date, and he's doing really well. Then there's Ralph the Corgi, that's the Instagram handle. And when I started following them, it was Ralph and Georgie. And then now it's Harry and Murphy, same family. Unfortunately, as dogs do for all of us, they pass too soon. Ralphie and George have gone over the Rainbow Bridge, and we've now got Harry and Murphy. There's another one, I think you pronounce it Topi, T-O-P-I, Topi the Corgi, is on social media, is on YouTube. He is in Finland. Amazing channel, like absolutely wonderful channel with the videos they do, and great work. And then the other one I'm going to throw in there, which is totally off the topic of dogs, is Lion Whisperer. So social media, you've got Instagram, and then you've got a very, very good YouTube channel, and that's Kevin Richardson. He's doing amazing work with lions and conservation. He's also got a couple of beautiful black leopards in his care, and some hyenas as well. And if you want your impression of hyenas changed, go watch his channel. It's amazing, and I'm a big fan of that as well. So I'll pop those links below. And then the other piece I wanted to do, I've only got the electronic picture. I don't have a hard copy printed off of what we did of with my sister Lisa and my brother-in-law, their dog Peanut. It was important to Lisa, it was important to Ian, to myself and many of us, and we felt it was probably also important to Peanut. Peanut went to my sister's funeral. Amazing dog walkers supported us. So Peanut's had these dog walkers for a long time, still has them now. They came and collected Peanut on the morning of the funeral, took her for a very long walk, and then they were her guardians at the entrance as all of us went in for the service. And then they had her when we all came out as well, so that she could be with us, and we could have her around as well, because she was a huge part of my sister and her husband's life, and is a huge part of ours still now. So I'll pop that there. So I think that's everything. A couple of other things. I've got my mug that a friend of me gave. So I've got this with some nice hot chocolate in it. And I've got quite a few corgi things and other stuff running around that people have either given me or I've gotten myself over the years. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what pet loss means to us as pet lovers and how so important it is for it to be recognized, because it is such a big transition when they leave our living lives for us. And I'll talk about, so the next topic I'm going to talk about is living losses. And those are losses that experience when we're alive, and not necessarily that someone passed away, but something ended and it is therefore classified as a living loss. Please pop any questions below, any comments. If any of this stuff is disconcerting to you, bring it up. I want to address that. I want to talk about it, and I can do it in another video or just comment in, follow on from a comment as well, because it's important for me that everyone feels seen and everyone's grief matters. So pop that all below. And so I mentioned living losses is next. Then the one after that will be secondary losses, and that wraps up the types of grief series. And I've mentioned if any questions came through and they didn't align to an episode, then I would do a one on the end, and that still stands. So if you come to this, let's say a year on from when this goes up, still go ahead and comment. I will see those and I will come back around to this, because like I said, it really, really matters that you feel seen. That was a lot. So it was 2 pages of notes for me, and then obviously the artifacts and some stories around Maggie. I am going to go ahead. I've got all my ingredients weighed out. So I've got my flour, my butter, my sugar. I've got the zest of my oranges, and then that's it for ingredients. That will all get mixed up. Roll it out, cut out with the cutter, and hopefully they don't spread. And we have some wonderfully defined corgi cookies. Try and saying that 10 times fast. I don't think it would go very well. Take very good care of you, and I will see you soon. Bye.